All right, man, peace. So, brothers, this is going to be an entry into a series that I have not updated in a while, probably too long. And that series is the Never Let a Woman Maintain You series. And basically, that's just a direct correlation to one of my favorite scriptures in the book of Ecclesiasticus in the King James 1611 version, that being Ecclesiasticus chapter 25, verse 22, where it tells us that if a woman or wife maintain her husband, then she becomes filled with impudence and anger and much reproach. Meaning what? If you put yourself in a situation where you need a woman to take care of you like you're her child, she's going to treat you like you're her child. And you're basically going to be an agent in your own emasculation. And that's very important because so many brothers who allow themselves to become emasculated, they feel less than, they feel marginalized. And you have to understand that you're confederate in your own emasculation, in your own marginalization. You can't blame the woman for being a woman. The woman by nature is looking for a man who at the very least is able to take care of himself, if not herself and her. A lot of you guys are looking for a female who's going to, quote unquote, be a ride or die chick and is going to uplift you even when you're down. I mean, yes, if you're fortunate, you'll have a woman who's on that level. But what the woman is looking for is not that she can pick you up when you're down, but that you can pick yourself up when you're down and that she can help you up. Always remember that the woman will always be looking for you to be a self-motivator and a self-mover. And that's what she's supposed to be looking for. The woman was not created to lead, and they know that. No matter what they say, no matter how much they protest, the woman in her quote-unquote heart of hearts knows that she was not created to lead. So the man has to show that he's a go-getter, that he's somebody who's focused and has goals, so on and so forth. It does not mean that you have to be rich. But within your own spirit, brothers, you have to know what you want out of life. You can't expect that from the woman. The woman's going to be looking to you for inspiration, no matter how successful she is. That's why the woman, for the most part, is what they call hypergamous, meaning she's always looking to upgrade. She's always going to be looking for a man with more security, more intellect, more wherewithal, etc. So that brings us to this case right here with Miss Shakima Wiggins. She, of course, was maintaining a very low-level dude, and we're going to see the hijinks that ensued because he put himself in that condition. So that's one of the reasons why I like to make these videos, so that so many of you brothers, oftentimes so-called black men I'm speaking to specifically, are raised in these matriarchal environments, and you become acclimated with having a woman over you. And then you enter out into the real world, and you want a woman to be your proverbial mother. And that's not healthy. That's not mentally healthy at all for the children, for yourself, or anyone involved. Because the woman will start to look at you with less and less respect, as she should. So anyway, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
Plaintiff Shakima Wiggins dated the defendant, and after their second child was born, the defendant became an alcoholic, and he cheated. Shakima eventually took him back, and they had a third child, but she's suing him today for car damages. Defendant Tariq Riddle says after he started dating Shakima, she became controlling and petty.
No, she did not become controlling and petty. She viewed herself as the head of the household because you were not doing what you needed to do to show that you were the head of the household. Always remember something, brothers. You cannot have two bulls in a pen. So the woman has to see that you're going to do what it takes to lead the household, because they're not raised to believe that a man should be the head. So you're going to have to show from the get-go that you're the one in control, and you should not be moving in with a female who does not respect the masculine principle in the first place. It takes a very long time to understand the woman that you're dealing with. It takes a long time for a lot of brothers to understand themselves because they've been raised in chaotic environments. But just to get back to the point, whenever you live with a woman and you're not on your P's and Q's, she is not going to respect you. If not outright or from the jump, eventually you're going to see the lack of respect.
And he realized her priorities were not what they should be. Tariq refuses to pay Shakima for anything.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Craig Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
Me and Tariq met back in 2014. Started dating. 2 months later, I wound up pregnant.
She quote unquote wound up pregnant. Brothers, you see how these stories always start out? These guys, they meet these females. Oftentimes, the female is desperate for that energy from a man. So they'll give up anything. They'll give up the vagina. Sometimes subconsciously they want to become pregnant because they feel like that's going to link a man to them for life. They want the comfort of knowing that they have a connection with a man. And at the very least, once they have that connection with a man, if they want to initiate a connection with another man, they can do so if they want that to be the case. But at least they'll always have this person, the quote unquote baby daddy, as a fail-safe, who they can throw themselves at if they're lonely. But that's the point of why so many of these quote unquote single women, especially women who don't have children, they're so easy to spread their legs and try to welcome a man to inseminate them. So once again, for a lot of you younger brothers out there, you're dealing with one of these chicks, 19, 20 years old, and she does not care if you're using protection. You better care if you're using protection. Because I promise you that if you impregnate that woman, she's going to show you a whole other side of her. And she's going to try to make sure that she makes you all about her. She's going to try to make sure that your whole life is about how to make her happy. Or at the very least, how to stop her from being upset. And you don't want to live a life like that.
Things was going good and until we got pregnant again and he lost his job, started drinking, becoming more of an alcoholic.
Yeah, because he became depressed.
So I started picking up the slack, taking care of the household bills and everything. And he wound up cheating on me. I wound up going to his phone one.
Well, she says that he quote unquote wound up cheating on her. What actually probably happened was that he was depressed and he was looking for a pick-me-up. He was not getting it from her because she was starting to emasculate him or assist him in emasculating himself. And he was looking for a way to feel more like a man. So he started to pursue other females. And that happens with a lot of these cats. First off, they were both way too young to even have a child anyway. Brothers, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. In this society, as a man, if you don't have a child already, you should not even really be thinking about having a child until you're about 35 or 40 years old in a society like this, in this Babylonian system that we're living in. Now, in other cultures where the female is raised to be a wife and where there are checks and balances to the conduct of the people, then yeah, you can have a child at 20, 22 years old. But in this society, with the lack of wisdom that people have and the gender confusion that is so pervasive here, brothers really should not be thinking about having a child until they're at least 35, 40 years old.
One night, found messages from different females, basically him doing the things to them that he wasn't doing to me, like taking them out to dinner, complimenting them, the whole nine. So I was fed up. After taking care of him.
Probably because he felt like there was nothing that he could do to make you happy. Because you were trying to quote unquote tear him down because he had failed to plan properly. So once again, he was looking for that positive energy from another female. That is what happens a lot of times in these households where brothers make bad or rash decisions. They're playing house with the woman, things get out of control, and now they're trying to find a way out. They really become desperate to get out of that whole setup because it'll become like a nut house for some of these guys. When you're living under that matriarchal or that feminine energy, for a man, it's almost like a male lion who has to listen to lionesses. That's not how it's supposed to be. You have to control the pride. You have to control the territory. If you can't do that, if you know that you're not going to be quote unquote allowed to do that by the female that you're with, you have to find somewhere else to go. You have to make sure that you maintain your options. That's why I tell cats, you never live with a female unless you have the money to maintain your own apartment also. And if you know that you're not going to be in that situation anytime soon, you be very honest with the woman, because oftentimes the woman already has her game plan set. Most of these modern day females look at men like a Mr. Potato Head doll. They take one head off, put another head on. That's why you have these songs by many of these R&B singers and pop singers trying to make sure that they accentuate to females in this society how expendable and replaceable men are. Listen to many of these songs. So that will give you an idea of how the average female feels about you. Make sure that you always protect yourself at all times.
Him becoming an alcoholic, me paying all the bills and everything, I left. I got moved into my own spot and everything, and that was December of 2016 that I moved out. And in May of 2017, here comes Tariq crying, calling me that he didn't have nowhere to stay. He had to get lost another job, still drinking and stuff. So me being the person I am, I let him stay with me because...
You being the person that you are, in all reality, let's be for real, you did not find a man to replace him. That's why you allowed him to move back in with you. Brothers, once again, people are as loyal and as forgiving as the options that they have.
Because we already had 2 kids together and everybody wants their family. So
yes, everybody quote unquote wants their family. In other words, you had 2 kids with him, which lowered your market value. So you said to yourself, who else is really going to take me that seriously or as seriously as this person is going to take me because I already have 2 kids with him? Let's not try to act like you were that concerned with his welfare. You were more concerned with the place that he would hold in your household as the father of your children. And look, there's nothing wrong with that. Brothers have to learn to start looking at life less emotionally and more pragmatically. Because a woman will try to sell you a line. But underneath that line is the reality. You have to be able to discern the reality and not what they're trying to advertise to you. Okay? They're trying to sell you something.
So I let him come stay with me. And we wound up getting pregnant again.
Yes, because you thought a 3rd child would make it more likely that he would be willing to commit to what your idea of a father and a husband would be.
And I got a better job offer in Jacksonville that was an hour and a half away from where we lived. So I was going off to work and Mr. Redo started accusing me of cheating and saying I wasn't living with who I said I was.
And it's possible that you were. Oftentimes when these females get a chance to leave the house and they get flirted with by other men, even if they got 3, 4 kids hanging around somewhere, they might go and dilly-dally with somebody else to make themselves quote-unquote feel like a woman again. Remember, she already said that he was flirting with women and telling them things that he was not saying to her. The woman loves attention. That's why they love to maintain that dynamic of having quote-unquote male friends. That's another topic that I have to touch on again, because I haven't touched on that in a while. When you brothers dealing with these women, they tell you they have all these male friends. That's a concubine. That's it. That's nobody to take serious.
I was living with a co-worker because it would be better.
Where were the 3 children?
They were with me. But 3 children were with me. So I was living with a co-worker because it would be better for me to just live with her in Jacksonville to go to work instead of coming home, like driving hours. So he was home with my 2nd car, which is a 2004 Toyota Camry.
Okay. Let me allow him to give some background first, but what you just told me is that you all had 2 unplanned children by the time he moved out and had become an alcoholic. Is that what you're describing? Sounds like you're describing him as an alcoholic.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Right, but they were not unplanned. How could the children have been unplanned if he did not wear protection and she did not demand that he wear protection? Subconsciously, she wanted to become pregnant because she wanted a way to cement her bond with him. Now, we can say unplanned, quote unquote, because they had no idea how they were going to raise the children in the long term. Once again, brothers, don't try to sing a sob story for your life or for your children when you have not planned for them properly, and now you have 4 or 5 kids that you have to feed, and you never had a real income to begin with. What that is that's an offense to your child, because your child expects to be brought into an environment where there's going to be some sense of security. And if you can't provide that, that means that you did a very poor job of planning, and you did a very poor job of caring about the future of your child. Those are just the facts, man.
Okay. It was so bad that you left in December of 16. Yet you came back 5 months later. And then...
Because it took her 5 months to realize that she was not going to be able to find another man. That's what that means. No disrespect to the sister, but that's all that really was about. Because if she had found somebody new, she would not have been sweating him.
Then you all had another unplanned pregnancy, even though you knew he was an alcoholic. So,
well, Greg Mathis, brother, Judge Mathis, there's no way in the world that they had 3 unplanned pregnancies. She was trying to make sure that he understood that he was always going to be a part of her life, whether he liked it or not.
So what's your excuse? He was out of his mind. What about you?
She's out of her mind too. That's very, very obvious. The only difference is that he was out of his mind off of depression and alcohol. She was out of her mind from birth.
Being young.
Sir, give me some background. What do you want to tell me?
So shortly after we started dating, she became this totally different person. She like real.
Nope, brothers. You see that? Cats always say the same shit. She became a totally different person. No, she did not. All she did was show you who she really was. All that smiling and trying to make you comfortable and accommodate you and give you ass whenever you wanted, and oh babe, it don't matter where you take me, we can go anywhere as long as I'm with you. All that stuff is bullshit. Okay? That's her ambassador. The real her is, we going here again? All you think about is sex? How come you can't do this for me and do that for me? Like my mother always told me y'all niggas was no good. Like that's the real person, man. You talking about she changed? No, she didn't. She's just ready to show you who she really is because she's tired of the monotony. So you have to be prepped for that, man.
Real controlling. She super petty.
Super petty. She's a woman.
Yeah, you petty. And she ain't got a priorities together. So
she don't have her priorities together, but you're jobless and an alcoholic. Come on, brother, knock it off.
Like
How so?
Oh, like with the same 2004 Toyota Camry. So sometimes like it be time to have a tire change. She go out and get her nails done, and I come out my pocket and I change the tires.
Well, nigga, that's the least you could do. All you're doing is drinking all day and laying on the couch.
Because I was taking care of all the bills.
Hold on. You would change the tire yourself.
Like she said, she's taking care of all the bills. And you want an award for changing a damn tire? I did a video about that a while ago. I think it was another Never Let a Woman Maintain You video. Some nigga laying on the couch all day and think because he repaired the automobile that he deserve a cookie. Knock it off.
Oh yeah.
And you were paying the bills.
I was paying them.
Yeah, we were paying, and we had an agreement about how much I was supposed to pay. So,
Who paid the most?
I guess she paid the most.
And you wanted her to get out there and fix the tire.
No.
Oh, you a lightweight pimping.
No, he's not no lightweight pimping. He's a heavyweight simp. That's all he is. He's a heavyweight simp and a baby boy.
Featherweight, by the way, not even lightweight. Featherweight. Go ahead, sir. What else you want to tell me?
Every time I turn around, like I can't even go out and hang out with friends. She's like, I may go out and play basketball with the guys or something. I have 1,000 text messages, 1,000 calls. Oh, you with this person, you with this. This person said they saw you with this person.
Right, well, what do you expect, dude? You're like her oldest son. So when you go out to play basketball, what does your mother do? She tell you to be home before the street lights come on. Right? That's what she does for her son. You're her son. You're not her man. If you was a man, you have the wherewithal to understand that you have to make sure that you can provide for the household. If you're not sure if you can provide for the household, then you better be focused on how you're going to get provisions for the household and not be out playing no damn basketball.
Like,
How old are you all?
I'm 24.
How old are you?
22.
Okay. You all are terribly unprepared for...
Absolutely. That's why I say once again, brothers, in this society, if you're going to have a child and you're younger than 35 or 30 years old, really make sure that you're ready for it.
For either building a family or emotionally prepared to leave the house, sounds like. Go ahead, sir. What else? So let's get to these babies. That's what I'm interested in. This nonsense you all engaged in, I can care less about.
Absolutely. I second that.
So, when did you all have your first child? How old were you?
I was 21.
And were you working full time?
Oh, yes, sir.
All right. When did you have your second child after that?
That was like 2 years later.
All right.
Once again, and I can't harp on this enough, so many young black people, or so-called black people, especially so-called black men, they start to have babies just because they get told by people either in their peer group or sometimes so-called advisors in their family, and I put advisors in quotes, be their mother and their auntie, talking about, so when you going to have a baby? When you going to give me a grandkid? All that nonsense. Brothers, you have a child when you're ready, man. You can't have a child so that you can fit in with everybody else doing the same dumb shit. It's a program out here. They want you to be a baby daddy. They don't want you to be a father, man. That's why they're always harping on what they call quote unquote co-parenting. You know what co-parenting is? Co-parenting is you inseminate the woman, she gets tired of you, kicks you to the curb, and then says, nigga, the next time that I see you is going to be in court. And you're going to have to pay me however much the judge tells you to pay me. And I'm going to go off and I'm going to have sex with other men, bring them around your children, and tell you when you can come pick up your children. That's co-parenting. So if that's okay with you, then go ahead and have babies when everybody else wants you to have them. If that's not, make sure that you know what you're getting into when you put your dick in some strange broad.
All right, you were 23. Were you working?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because she said at one of these points you all had a child and you weren't working. You were indeed an alcoholic. That's what she said.
In between jobs is a better way.
Okay, were you an alcoholic?
In between jobs. How the hell you going to be in between jobs? Just say that you're jobless. It's okay. As long as you focus on getting something else. You're broke, you don't have a job.
An alcoholic, though?
That's a strong word.
No.
Well, you was drinking strong alcohol.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping the answer is no, but you didn't say no. So,
he drowning his sorrows.
The third child.
I go out and I drink with the guys.
That drinking with the guys shit also. Brothers, look, man. Whatever your peer group is, make sure that your peer group is beneficial. Whoever you hang out with is who you're going to be like. Ain't none of us perfect, man. All right? The people in our circle ain't going to be perfect. But make sure at the very least that they're goal-oriented. It's a big difference between going out and having a drink with the fellas and this homeboy is in school, this homeboy has a career, this homeboy has his shit together, he's getting his bills paid every month, he has a job, so on and so forth, as opposed to that homeboy is a baby daddy living, in his mother's basement. This homeboy is fresh out. You don't feel like you have any options or any opportunities. A lot of what we deal with is what we create for ourselves. And a lot of what we create for ourselves is directly correlated with the energy that we allow into our life, man. It's very, very important. He's depressed. He's depressed about his life. And he's depressed because he understands that he's in a situation where he cannot provide for his family. So now he wants to run out and play basketball. And really that's a way for him to try to transport himself back to when he was 14 or 15 years old and he had no real pressures. Life comes at you fast, okay? There's going to be pivotal moments in your life where you're going to have to make the right decision. And one of the easiest ways to figure out what the right decision is to make the conservative decision. If you're 18, 19 years old and you're with a chick that gets around, you better make sure that you have on protection, okay? You better make sure of that shit. I'm not one of these guys, don't lay down with her. Look, I'm not going to sit here and sit on a soapbox. Make sure that you protect yourself at all times. Of course, it would be best if you leave that bitch alone. But, if you hide in your pants or whatever, make sure that you protect yourself. That's what we have to do at all times, is protect ourselves at all times. And that's going to manifest itself in a myriad of ways. But the so-called black man is not being taught about his value. All we're hearing about is how black girls rock and lesbians are leading Black Lives Matter and all these other things. They're trying to take away the image of the black man as a leader. Really, they've taken it away already. We have to restore that. And if that means that you have to let the so-called modern liberal black woman know that you're not going to deal with her on any level, then that's what cats have to do.
All right. Were you working with the third child?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Is that true?
Yes, he was working donut journey.
All right. Does he take care of the children now?
No.
Sir?
Financially, yes, most definitely. I don't know where she gets that from.
He does take care of his financial responsibilities to children.
Basically.
You need to be in their life as well, but they won't grow up at all if they're suing them over car damages, ma'am. What happened?
The story he told me was he was out gambling and drinking with his friends one night, and things went wrong, and some guys accused him of cheating. And he had to run, so he snatched the money and ran, and they were shooting at him.
Well, that's some bullshit. Because if you're going to snatch a bag of money, if cats is shooting dice or whatever they doing, ain't nowhere in the world they're going to allow you to get away with that money. So he's full of shit.
And he wound up crashing the car into a pole. That's what he told me. I told him, well, if these were your friends, why were they shooting at you?
And beyond that, if those were his friends and he just grabbed the money and ran, why would he leave his friends behind like that?
Then he changed his story and said it wasn't his friends, it was guys they were playing against.
What do you think happened?
He was with another female, and the female he was messing with, boyfriend, shot my car. So
That's probably what happened. That sounded about right.
I believe it was another female. I believe he was just using the gambling story just to cover his own behind.
You think it was the boyfriend of another female?
Yes.
That you got an elaborate story there.
Right, but you know what? Her story sounds more feasible and more reasonable than whatever that bullshit was that he was talking about. He took the money from a dice game and ran all the way out to the car. Niggas ain't catch him, and they just started shooting at the back of the vehicle, and he left his friends behind. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit.
Here you have another boyfriend, another girlfriend. You have the girlfriend cheating on that boyfriend. And then you have the boyfriend shooting up your car because he is messing with his girlfriend.
Yeah,
that's a heck of a scenario. You didn't came up with you write movies or books? I mean, that's a heck of a you gave some very descriptive facts that have not been.
I know him. He not gonna mess with nobody who's single.
All right, but the whole.
Right, because he's a simp. That's what simps do. They're professional side dudes. That's why I did that video. Why do you want to be a side dude? It's because you're a damn simp.
The whole scenario, though, you drew it all the way out. How many bullets did the guy have in his gun?
Have you seen the pictures yet?
Let me see it. Sir, what do you say to this?
I was like short on the rent, so I went out gambling. Like,
you short on a lot of shit, bro. You short on sense. You short on intelligence.
And I ain't been drinking. I ain't make the best decisions apparently, but like before I know it, I was down like a lot, and I saw the pot, and it was like there, so I was like, shoot, snatch and run, and I got out of there. I got a couple.
Nigga, please, you didn't get nowhere. He's the one who needs to be writing movie scripts, looking like a crackhead Mario with dreadlocks. Knock it off, man.
I got a couple lumps. But I got out of there, and just thinking of like shooting at the car and stuff. I get out of there and go back home, and I could wake up the next morning to go to work, and
Sure you did.
like the bumpers hanging and stuff.
Yeah, you were right. That's true. I'd go with that elaborate, unproven story that you have over that.
Thank you, sir.
You grab some street guy's money at shooting dice and think you can grab the whole pot and run, and you think all they're going to do is hit you a couple of times and wait until you get into the car? Let's let him get to his car before we start shooting. That is not how that goes.
Not how that goes at all. And beyond that, if he actually had left his friends behind like that, his friends would have either gotten killed or beat down, and his friends would have turned on him. So he's making all types of nonsense up.
And so you have an estimate for the $2,839?
Yes, sir. And Mr. Riddle did agree to pay for majority of his signed
I
promissory
didn't agree
note.
to pay anything.
Well,
You
you
don't
were
think you
drinking
should?
and you
How nonchalant and cold she was towards me after I had told her like what happened. She's just like,
Right, but how does her emotional state or her lack of emotional investment in your story, how does that affect what you owe her? And I've covered this in other videos. Like, if you know that you owe somebody something, then you pay them back, you reimburse them, because what that does is that sets up better energy for you in the future. When you go through life thinking that you're going to shit on people and use the excuse that you don't like how they treated you, things are only going to get worse for you. I promise you that.
just like, so you gonna pay for my car? No. And
Does
I'm
she
like,
didn't believe that story? And
What is the
neither
truth?
do
What
I.
I'ma tell her?
And neither do I. She
Well,
still wins. You were
the
negligent.
value of the car is only-
Pardon me?
the value of the car isn't even what she was asking me to pay.
Let's see. What? And it was a 2004 Toyota.
Yes, sir.
And the mileage on it, 200,000 miles.
Yes, sir.
That was the estimate. It was probably more than that.
And the trade-in value, it says, is $1,267.
Yes, sir. I was trying to give Mr. Riddle a break, but apparently,
Let's be for real. You was trying to give him a break because you want to stay with him. You have 3 kids with that man. I don't know if you're in love with him or not, but here's what I do know. You do know that your options are limited. I know that, and you know that. Once again, brothers, people are with you because of options. If you're bringing something to the table that they cannot find anywhere else, that's what makes it more likely for them to try to work things out with you. That's it. This concept of being in love, these are things that the so-called black man has to let go of. These are things that he's learning through television and movies and from the black matriarchy. They're teaching him about how to fall in love, because the fall in love paradigm, it sets you at a disadvantage until you're about 35 years old. That's when most so-called black men start to come out of that fog and out of that haze. Then they look back at the previous 15 or 20 years of their life and they say, wow, I made all these mistakes. I got these women pregnant. I got into relationships with low-level females, all because I thought that relationships were about my emotions as opposed to logistics.
He doesn't need.
You was trying to rob him like he robbed the people at the dice table.
Yeah.
At the dice game. Neither one of y'all know how to rob, right? Take y'all to Detroit and get you some lessons. You'll learn real quick. I bet you're gonna run off with that money. All right, sir, before the plane.
Yeah, I bet that they won't run off with nobody else's money either. But this fool, he just sitting up lying. And no disrespect to this brother, but, you know, and I don't like to use that term a lot or this term a lot, but he's a loser. And you can become a more beneficial person to yourself, but sometimes you have to accept who you are right now so that you can improve yourself. But you're sitting around impregnating this female. You feel low about yourself. You run around making up lies and hustling, talking about you gambling, all this other shit. You know, just batten down the hatches and try to get your stuff together. The woman wants to live with you. The problem is that she don't respect you. And she's not going to respect you unless you put in the work to deserve some level of respect. So the real question is, do you want to be with that female? And the answer is no. That's the real problem.
Well, I was like kind of just hoping we'll be a family again, but
that ain't gonna happen. And of course you're hoping that y'all could be a family again. No disrespect to you, sister, but ain't nobody really gonna be checking for you out there on the market. Not with 3 kids and, you know, I mean, no disrespect.
Apparently that's not how he feels, so it is what it is.
Yeah, it pretty much is what it is. I agree with that. And you might want to consider what Judge Mathis stated. You know, you should probably go into private investigation and maybe start writing movie scripts. But anyway, brothers, once again, remember, you never ever let a woman maintain you. Unless you're in dire straits, you never let a woman maintain you. So peace.